Hello everyone, welcome back to another STEM challenge, and today what you're going to need is some blank paper, a eraser of some kind, a pencil, and a ruler. Okay, now we're not doing measuring, we're just drawing lines today. So what we're going to work on is a single point perspective, which is really cool. It's a lot of fun. It's a little tricky, but once you catch on, it's not too bad. And I'll turn these around. So there's a bit of a draft, just as something to play around. I was just playing around with different lines. And this is the one I want to show you. So as you can see, it's called single point perspective because all the perspective lines come from one dot in the horizon. So each one of these buildings and sidewalk and the line on the road comes from this one dot. Okay, we're going to show you how to do that. And I also did one just for fun for a word, and it just happened to be Monday. Now it's a little wavy because I didn't use a ruler for all of it, and it's just, once again, a single point perspective. It just makes block letters. I made them different sizes. We're going to show you how to do that as well with a couple letters. Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll start with the block letters first. I'm going to put these off to the side. And I apologize because you're going to be seeing it opposite. And what I'll do is I'll try to show you as best I can. Maybe when I start doing the lines, I'll do it opposite. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pick a line or a dot, kind of in the middle of the page, maybe at the top. That's my line, or my dot, my perspective line. And I'm just going to draw a small line here. Okay, and your page is going to be full of lines like this. Okay, so don't worry too much about sketching lines. Just try not to draw them too dark, that's all. Just dark enough so that you can see them. So this is my line. I'm just going to draw a couple letters to give you an idea how this works. Now, what you should do, the best you can do is, if you can find letters, well, we can't actually always choose what letters we want to do. If you do letters that have lots of edges, they work the best. Okay, so obviously this T works really, really well. A D is a little tricky because it has a curve. An R, let's try an R. You can do an R. If you maybe you might have to do it round. If you do an R like this, you can actually do an R with a little bit of a squareness to it. Okay, and go up and go down and across. And this is not a perfect science. Okay, so there's a T and an R. Now what you do is, I'm going to do this upside down so you can see it. Is you start from one end, okay, and you draw a line from your perspective point to each corner. Wherever there's a corner or a vertice in the letter, or a corner of some kind, that's where you draw your line. Okay, so you draw it to the corner of the R. And I can't draw it there because that's on the other side. If I do that, nope. I can't draw any lines inside my letter. Okay, only on the outside. So if I keep going around, I see that this bottom part of the R, so I can only go to there. Okay, that's it. Because this is the top part and that's the bottom. Right, so it only goes to there. If it stops at the letter, then it stops altogether. It doesn't go any farther. Only the ones that you can see on the outside. Okay, now if I go across, I have a little corner on the inside of my R, but I have to stop at the letter and that's it. I can't go any farther. Right, now if I slide my ruler across even more, that one doesn't count because it's actually part of the letter. This one I don't see, it's underneath. This one I don't see either because it's under the letter. Keep going across, I see this one. Right, and I see this one on the outside. There. So we have a little bit there. Now we go over to the T. And there's one there. Slide it over. There's one at the top. slide it over. Oh, there's the bottom of the T. Now remember, when you draw it, and if you come to the letter, that's it. You stop. You don't go any farther. Okay? And keep going across. That doesn't count because I can't see it. This one doesn't count because it's part of the letter. I can't see it. And I go across. There's not too many on this one. And that's what you do. Okay, and what I did in mine with the letters is just for fun, I made them different depths. Okay, and all you need to do for that is draw a straight line. So if I draw a straight line here, right, then I need to draw a line for this one as well. And when you do this sort of thing, you're matching the lines on the letters. So this line matches the top, right? And this line matches this side letter, so I slide it over and I want to make it the same size. And then, like mine, all I did is I just shaded a little bit of the depth. And this one I can make way bigger. So if I do the top, slide up, because that's that line. And if I do this one, it's going to start there. This is the side. And I slide it across. And I try to draw it as parallel as I can without measuring. You can measure. That would make it a lot easier. But you can do it freehand as well. Now if I go like this, and then I go like this on the side. There. So that's how it works. That's how perspective works. So you can do all kinds of letters. You can color it all the way up to the point, and you can do it that way. And you can also, after you're done, you can erase everything. You can erase all your lines, all your perspective lines that you used. I would leave the point there just in case you need it for something. Oh. And then you can color your letters in if you want. And you can even shade your... yeah, you can even shade these. And I was just looking to see if it's the same depth. I think it is. It looks like it. Okay. You have to make sure everything's about the same. And it looks about the same. So that's what you do. And you can have some fun with those letters. And I'm going to move on to a different type of perspective drawing. I'm going to move on to this type of drawing. And it might look a little complicated, but it really is not. It's just lines. It's all basically straight lines. After you've drawn your perspective lines, every single line on your drawing is either horizontal, so parallel to the top and bottom of your page, or vertical, parallel to the sides. They're all 90 degrees. All of these are all 90 degrees in separation. The only ones that are not are the ones that meet with the perspective lines. Okay, but once you do your perspective drawing and your perspective lines, then everything you draw is either horizontal or vertical. Let me show you what I mean. Let's get a new piece of paper, and for this one I'm going to try my best to draw upside down. I hope I can. I may have to turn around a couple of times. Now for this one I want to draw a horizon line like this, and I'm going to put, this is my perspective dot. This is my single point perspective. That's why I call it single point. There are other ones that are called 2-point perspective where you have two lines, but we're not going to go there. You can experiment on your own with that one. I think what I'm going to do is I'll do a simple idea like this. We can practice a little bit. I'll do a roadway. It doesn't have to always be a roadway. So we'll draw, now this is where I draw light. All right, I just draw one side and drawing another side. It's all from this point. Everything comes from this point. and it looks like it's about there. I'm just trying to get it a little even. Okay, this is our road. This is the line down the middle, and as you can see, my line is a little off here, so I should do it again. All right, and these are all draft lines. These are all sketch lines. You can erase them after you're done. Now, if I follow the same principle as this drawing, now this is also, you can do a room, the inside of a room with this type of drawing as well. Okay, and with your perspective lines. I'm just doing an outdoor scene. Now, I want to do a sidewalk on both sides, right? And now I need to have my height, and I'm going to go about here. Let's do one side first. So this is my height. Now my perspective drawing is done, right? My lines. Now every line is either this way or this way, unless I'm tracing over one of these perspective lines. So if I move over, let's say I'm going to put a building right here. Okay, and I want to make it this long. Right, so these two lines are parallel to the edges. Now there's my side. Now I don't know how wide I want it to be a certain width. So I need another line because I have to go across this way. Right, so there's my perspective line, and now I need to go across there. See how my ruler is parallel, right, to the edges. And I'm going across there. Now there, if I trace this, these are the edges of my building. All right, like this. Right, and now I'm going to go down, because this is the bit of the tricky part, because a line doesn't always match where you want it to match, especially with these perspective drawings. So if I make it parallel, I'm going to draw a light line here, because this has to go down and match and meet this line, and it's almost exactly on that angle, which is actually perfect. That lines up nicely. So there's our building. All right, it's a very skinny building. You can do this on both sides, same thing. And if you want to draw, you can draw some windows. There's my guidelines. There's my guidelines right there. And so these are my perspective lines. Now I have my lines go straight. All right, let's draw two windows. So all my lines are up and down. There, now I just have to trace this perspective line. And there's a couple of windows in my building. And then you can do your I'll do short ones on this side. Then you can do your sidewalk lines. See how my lines are parallel? These are horizontal lines now. All right, I'm just going straight down here. I'll do it this way so you can see. All right, and the space gets bigger as you move along. There's more space between the lines. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. And it's no different than drawing a square like this. It's exactly the same thing. Okay, because if this is drawn properly, this line will match here, this line will match here, and this line should match here. Okay, that's the way perspectives work. Now, real quickly, I'll maybe do a bit of a room. So before I run out of time, if let's say this is the ceiling, and we do this, and we have our goes like this, and we have a single perspective that's going like this. All right, I'm going to have to turn it around for a second. And if we go up from here, and draw that part of the square, right, which I'll do it this way now. Okay, and if I draw my line out, so what I've done is on these I've decided this is going to be my width, and I join those. That's the bottom, the corner of my room. This is the top of my room, right? I've just drawn it up this high. I've just decided this is how high I want it to go, just based on my ruler. Okay, and then I've joined those two across like that. And now what I need to do is I need to draw my perspective lines. Technically I should have done that first, but I'm trying to move along here and go this way. Now if I go and draw a line here, and I kind of want it to be about the same distance across, so maybe about there. All right, and if I go here, it may not quite line up. That's not lining up because we're a bit of at an angle, so we'll go halfway. Okay, we'll kind of go like this, which means that our wall should be right here instead, right? So this is kind of what our room looks like. Okay, if we erase this and erase this, if you can kind of vision what a room would look like. We'll erase those two. Okay, so there's one, there's the ceiling wall. There's the other ceiling wall, right? There's the bottom of the wall. There's the bottom of the wall. Like that. Okay. And this is the back wall. So now you're seeing the room from this way. And then you can draw furniture, you can do a window, but it has to match the contour lines, right? It has to match your perspective lines. All right, then you can draw a window. So because all the lines match this, so this line would have to match, and then we'd have to draw a line there as well, and this line is straight up. Okay, so you can draw a window. So that's how you do a room in perspective, or 1-point perspective. So this is it. This is the key right here. It's this one right here. All these angle lines, right? These are called the perspective lines. They go from this 1 point, which is why it's called 1-point perspective. Even these windows, if you drew a line across, they would all line up like this. For time's sake, I just did it freehand. Okay, and you can have a lot of fun with this. You can draw a lot of different things, but this is the most important part, is this point, because that's where all these lines come from. And that's basically how you do your 1-point perspective drawing. So there's a room, there is a scene with buildings, and there is one that has letters on it. You can make a word, you can make your name, and do it in 3-point perspective and make the block letters and color it in. It'd be a lot of fun. It'd be really neat to watch or see. Okay, so that's it for today, and please share what you create with us. We'd love to see it, and we will talk to you again. Thanks.